Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Are You Maximizing Your Mobile App for Networking? My name is Venu Deschetti. I'm the Principal Planner for Apex Meetings, and we have been doing conference planning for quite some time, working with associations and nonprofits across the country. And one of the biggest questions that we get every year, every time we work with a client, especially when it comes to mobile app, is, what can you do to increase our engagement? What can the mobile app do? And so over the years and looking at some of the best practices that are out there and also our own lessons learned, we've come up with a few ideas that we really think help move that needle a little bit to get your attendees engaged a little bit more with your mobile app. We're going to go over 3 key areas today. We're going to talk about what we can do to promote, what some ideas are for on-site activation, and also what you might want to do to encourage discussions on the mobile app. Now, one of the things I find very funny is that a lot of people think, the mobile app is this remarkable tool that'll just automatically increase your engagement. But what I'd like to remind people is that, the mobile app is just a tool, just like any other tool you'll find in your toolbox. You've got to have a plan to use that tool. You've got to figure out what supplies you need and how you're going to activate it. And with that plan, you're going to combine that with your tools, and then you're going to activate it with, like, in anything that you're going to build. The same thing goes with the mobile app. You've got to build a marketing plan, and then once you activate it, then hopefully you'll get your end goal of experiences achieved. Now we'll go to the promotion section, and this is basically taking a step back and really realizing, why do you want to use the mobile app to engage or to increase the engagement that you have and increasing the network? I think a lot of times, a lot of us are tasked with, let's just increase the use of the mobile app because we paid for it. That's the reality. However, to take the time to step back and really think about what is the difference between the great idea of let's have a mobile app and increase the usage versus what is the great strategy and tactics we can implement to get people to use it, which our ultimate goal is to create that networking experience, create those on-site relationships that your conferences and events are supposed to be for. So really step back, think about what you want to achieve and work your way backwards. Figure out, is it the number of mentors and mentee relationships you want to increase, and quantify it so you have an idea of not only what you want, but how much you're going to realize when it is successful or not successful. Think about, perhaps your goal is a lead generation for your exhibitors, connecting them with a certain number of attendees with your sponsors and exhibitors. Those are just some examples, but be very concrete, have very measurable goals. The other thing is to really define who you're trying to go after with these targets. You have so many stakeholders at your conferences, ranging from mentors, non-members, first-timers, a lot of key stakeholders. Now, each one of those stakeholders have a different way that they're going to use the mobile app, just like they use the conference. Some stakeholders come for the conference to be seen as the thought leader in the industry. Some come for job searching. So it's really important to figure out what category of attendee that you're looking at, how they use that mobile app, what they're trying to get out of it, and really cater to that. Now, I think it's also very easy to say, we want to do everything for everyone, which can get very cumbersome if you don't have the capacity to actually manage that. So maybe the first time out of the gate, pick 1 or 2 that you think are either the low-hanging fruit of where you can make an impact, or people that that are going to be really engaged with the app. For example, exhibitors, finding out what it is that they're looking for and how to use that mobile app to make it better for them. But really thinking about that strategically and making a plan that is realistic for the resources and the time that you have. In the marketing plan, again, we talked about the why. Why are you trying to use the mobile app? Why is that networking valuable? All of this is going to help you go on to making your plan, creating those messages, and figuring out your targets. Also, in your marketing plan, don't think about just how you get the message out during the conference. That's almost too late. Think about launching your mobile app months in advance and communicating those networking opportunities or communication opportunities that's available via app in your communication before the conference. For example, if you're saying, the conference is in about 1 month, we have our session descriptions up. By the way, if you download our app today and you start using it today, you can actually see who our speakers are, learn more about the topic, and perhaps even connect with people that will, not only the speakers, but the other attendees that will be at the conference as well. So that's kind of the pre-marketing, pre-conference marketing that you can sort of integrate into your already existing communication. And then, of course, there's during the conference messaging as well, which we'll get into a little bit later in this presentation. And as far as post-conference, the networking doesn't stop at the conference. You've got these great relationships that were built at the conference. Why not keep it going on? LinkedIn is a great experience, but what about creating that more personalized experience through your mobile app? Now, some mobile apps don't allow you to continue with your mobile app after your conference. However, there are many like mElimu that actually allow you to keep the engagement going on 365 days a year. So you can encourage people to kind of keep track of not only the session topics, but also the network that they built at the conference and kind of grow on that. Most of mobile apps these days are connected to social media, so there's that added advantage of seeing, if someone is really a heavy user in LinkedIn, they don't lose that visibility. That still kind of translates into the conference mobile app, but it's just more relevant. And then again, with the marketing messages, integrate that with all of your campaigns, whether it's social media, email campaigns, printed brochures, your website. Get your staff and board members to be advocates of using mobile apps for networking. If they're going to set up a meeting, say, hey, let me schedule that meeting through the mobile app. That way they're engaged with that. They can see more information, what topics are relevant. Again, just another way to not only get them to use the mobile app, but to see all the resources that are available. And then when the conference is done, or whenever at some points, definitely track your numbers. We all get these great reports from our mobile app companies where we get usage and what pages they hit, how many unique users, but really take a look at it. Take a time to see what sessions are they most interested in. What are they talking about? Who's talking about them? I think you'll find a lot of information there that will determine probably your future marketing plans when it comes to getting your attendees to engage more with the mobile app. For example, if you see that more millennials, for example, not to stereotype, but if more millennials are using the mobile app than more of the senior leaders in your industry, so you can look at it one of two ways. Either go at the low-hanging fruit and say, how can you use this tool, the mobile app, to give more information or make it more interactive for those millennials who are using the mobile app. Or you can look at it from a standpoint of going, okay, look at it as a challenge and say, why isn't senior leadership using this? Is it because of the content? Is it because it's not a useful tool? So a couple of different ways. But then again, that goes back to the whole question of why. Why is it important to increase the usage of mobile app? And maybe setting those goals in advance will help just make it more of a realistic strategy to implement. Now for on-site plan, and I think a lot of us do this already, we try to get the word out about networking at registration, and we tell people, oh yeah, there's a mobile app. And things at registration nowadays are so automated and sometimes just very time sensitive. You're trying to get people their badges, their bags, and out the line. But actually taking the time to step back, slowing it down, and actually creating a welcoming experience for people at registration and giving them the experience of hello, and going beyond just saying, here's your bag, and saying, here are some useful tools that you can use to make your conference even more. Now, not everyone is going to be receptive to this, but I think you will find that there are a lot of people that are coming back to the old way of doing things, of just having a welcoming experience and setting that tone for your conference. Whether it's at registration or a side table that's like a welcoming table that says something about the mobile app. And I actually have one client that does that. They have a mobile app a welcome table where people go not only to just troubleshoot of, how do I get onto the app and how do I connect to Wi-Fi, but also talk about, it's a great opportunity to say, did you know that this feature, that the mobile app has features where you can set up meetings with someone or see who's speaking at these sessions, and connect with them directly and ask them questions. And that type of relationship definitely, you're creating you're nurturing and creating that relationship, which will take that experience that much further. So not only the verbal, but also printing it in your programs, if you still do a printed program, perhaps some takeaways, anything at registration that might help that welcoming experience. Get them from the get-go. Now, as far as sessions are concerned, get your speakers and your moderators, your facilitators, or your note takers in each session to be your champion as well. I know that we all try to get so much from our speakers to try to get them to submit polls and questions. I think we're kind of lucky if we get presentations sometimes in advance. However, I think those are things that we as program coordinators can also go in and say, if the speaker is not able to, maybe suggest, how about doing a poll that is fairly simple and suggest a poll or a survey for a speaker, or even it can be as simple as, was this a new topic for you, and poll the attendees for that information. But having someone stand up in front of the room, they're already introducing the speaker. Why not take the extra few seconds to say, hey, by the way, we have a mobile app and this session is listed on there. Please check into your mobile app to say you were here. Check out information about our speaker, and also take the opportunity to connect with other people in the room through this mobile app. If you don't have time to actually talk to someone here today in this session, then you have the opportunity to connect with them later. Often other times we are shuttling these attendees from one session to another. So, giving them that opportunity is just another tool that you're giving them. Then there's notifications. Not only doing push notifications to tell people, oh, this room has changed, or so-and-so is a sponsor. Actually take the time to do a notification that says, did you know, and get them to prompt them maybe even before they arrive about setting up their social LinkedIn, how tips, maybe do a tip sheet on how to use the mobile app, and push a notification out that says, hey, today's tip for networking, and give them some advice about, very short and quick, something that, that's worthy of a text that goes out to people, but relevant. And maybe you can even target that to certain individuals or a certain group that you're targeting. The other way is discussions. A lot of mobile apps like MELIMU will have discussion boards within the apps, whether it's connected to a specific session or it's just discussion forums that is a separate entity all to itself. So perhaps, outside of just doing discussions within a session, definitely think about certain topics that might have relevancy to the overall conference, or perhaps is a subject that you couldn't do a session on because you simply ran out of space or time. Create those in advance and promote those in advance to create that discussion so people can research, know that it's a top topic in the industry, and then also with that, you want to get your leaders involved, your thought leaders, to also champion those by not only logging onto the mobile app, but actually engaging the conversation and leading the conversation. Perhaps find someone that will kind of adopt a topic and facilitate that through the mobile app. Perhaps it's the same facilitator who is also managing the session, the actual session on site. That way there's a connection to the content. And as well, and for resources, it's beyond just attaching a presentation or a recording to a session. Resources, think about it in terms of people, your speakers. Usually speakers run in and run out. A lot of them may not stay. So how does an attendee get access to that speaker to ask the additional questions? The mobile app is a great way to do that. Either post questions on the mobile app and encourage your attendees to do that, and also encourage speakers to be responsive to that. If not at the conference, post-conference, as well as perhaps that's a question that you ask when you're doing a call for presentations, of how willing presenters are to engage people on social media and mobile apps. And if they're not, perhaps if you have the bandwidth, volunteers or other leaders in your organization or even staff to, again, adopt a session or a discussion point. Again, resources connecting to people, again, it's connected to your LinkedIn and other social media. So that's another way to connect attendees to speakers and VIPs they may not have had a connection with in person at the conference. And then mentorship as well. This is a great opportunity for mentors to learn from mentees and mentees for mentors. Mentees can look for mentors. So, this is a great way to do a lot of mentorship programs using the mobile app, connecting people. If a mentor doesn't have the opportunity to physically meet a mentee on site, perhaps this is a venue, the mobile app is a venue for them to cultivate that relationship, to get it started, to gauge interest and just kind of create that foundation for a better relationship going forward. It's a start. Now that is about it. We could go on and on with ideas, but if you have any questions, definitely you can put that in the chat box or email us later. This presentation has been brought to you by mElimu. It is a mobile app and LMS online technology solutions provider for associations and nonprofits. And again, I'm Vanu Deschetti with Apex Meetings. We do conference planning from the beginning to the end, and our registration software, EVA, the Event Virtual Assistant. We'll definitely have, again, this recording for you. We'll send that to you via email and post it on our website if you need to reference it later. If you want some specific ideas and maybe want to talk about your meeting and brainstorm a little bit about how to use your mobile app specifically for your meeting, we are definitely open to that. We will sit down with you, maybe even grab a cup of coffee and hear about what you're having trouble with or what you'd like to improve. And maybe we can give you some ideas about what we've done in the past. Definitely just reach out to Danielle and she would be more than happy to set that up. Again, thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar about maximizing your mobile app for networking. Thank you.